Hi again, it's Brian here from Heirs the Outdoors. So if you didn't know, you can actually go on Wasp Archery's website and you can pick 3 broadheads that you think you might like to try, and they can ship them to you all in one container for actually a pretty low price. So what we did is we found 6 broadheads that we thought we might like to try out, and today we're going to give it the ultimate accuracy and penetration test. What we have here is 9 pieces of 3-inch insulation, so that's 27 inches of insulation that we're going to go ahead and shoot at each individual target. We're going to measure them for accuracy, and we're also going to measure it from penetration. Right now, we have it set for field point accuracy, so we're going to go ahead and shoot a field point for reference, and then we're going to get right to it. Is that on? Okay, so here's our first shot at 20 yards with the field point. We know we're right on where we need to be, and we're gonna go ahead and just do a penetration. We're gonna measure it right now so we know what we're dealing with when the broadheads start flying. All right, for our first expandable, we're going to be shooting the Jackhammer that opens up to 1 1/4 inches. This is held together by a rubber O-ring, and it opens from the front. So it's a front deploying broadhead. We're going to go ahead and see how it does. The next one we're going to be trying is the Jackhammer, but this one opens to 1 3/4. This one is a little bit longer than the Jackhammer 1 1/4. Also front deploying 3-blade, and because it's a little bit longer, I think it might throw the FOC off a little bit. We're just gonna go ahead and give it a field test right now. For our last front deploying broadhead of Wasp, we're gonna be using the Jackknife, which is the 2-blade that they have. It opens up to 2 inches. So we're gonna go ahead and check it out. Also has a rubber O-ring, so you might have to buy replacement O-rings like that if you're going to be using one for practice. Now we're going to test Wasp's rear deploying broadhead called the Z-Force. Z-Force has a chisel tip just like the others, and it opens at a 1 5/8 inches. And we're gonna go ahead and see how it does. Right now I'm kind of looking at it, and it seems like it has a chisel tip, but it also has, like right past the tip and between the blades, it looks like there is gonna be a little bit of space where it doesn't cut. I don't know, we'll see when it opens up. But how it operates is there's a ball bearing inside of here that once it hits and hits the blades, the ball bearing spins, and then the blades will come out and hopefully do a lot of damage, but we'll see.
Those are all acceptable. Yeah. All you have to do is move your pin a little wee bit.
Okay. Okay, so we shot all 4 expandables we're going to be shooting today. We have the Jackhammer 1 1/4. It went not as far as the field tip even. Most of these are not going to go as far as the field tip we thought, just because they expand, and that's going to take some of the kinetic energy away, and also all the blades are going to drag. So we have the Jackhammer right here. Jackhammer, sorry, we have the Jackhammer right here and the Jackhammer 1 3/4. Both hit the exact same spot. None of these really have a big entry hole. It looks like they're just starting to expand maybe on some of them, but we're gonna go ahead and take this apart and see what it did. But that's not telling what it's gonna do to a deer, so we really don't know what exactly it's gonna do to a deer. The Jackknife 2-inch hit just a little bit farther right, not as high as either of the Jackhammers, so maybe a little bit better for field point accuracy. And the Z-Force, which hits 1 3/4, had the best penetration so far, and it hit exactly where the Jackhammers did. So we're gonna say they hit exactly the same spot, that all of them hit pretty much exactly the same spot except for the Jackknife, but that's actually within the margin of error, so they all hit pretty good. You are gonna have to move your sight just a little bit, but overall pretty impressed with the accuracy. 18 1/4 inches is through the 6th layer. Is the Z-Force is the only one that actually poked out just a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and open this one up and probably see the rest of them. We are through the 5th layer right here right now. Earlier we saw that the Z-Force penetrated the 6th layer, but just barely. And as you can see, it's completely deployed. Actually, all of these are completely deployed. As we can see, we have the Z-Force right here, the jackknife right here, that's a 2-inch cutting diameter. It had great penetration. And then the jackhammer right here, 1 1/4, also punched through the 5th layer. What we don't have is the jackhammer 1 3/4, which is the difference between a rear deploying and a front deploying broadhead. I'm not saying it won't kill a deer, but we are missing right here the jackhammer 1 3/4, but this also opens up the Z-Force at 1 3/4, but it had the best penetration and it opened up all the way. So right now we're looking at the Z-Force being best on penetration, and they all have equal accuracy. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the 5th layer off and see if we can't find the jackhammer 1 3/4. Okay, so final results for the expandable penetration test. Like I said, the accuracy is already pretty much the same for all of them. We have the Z-Force coming through with the best penetration, followed by, let's see what we got here, the 1 1/4, which is semi-expected, and then the jackknife right here with 2. We just got through the 4th layer here, and the jackhammer 1 3/4 punched through the 4th layer and was actually sticking in the 5th layer, almost poked out. So you are going to have better penetration with the 1 1/4, but you're going to have more of a cutting diameter with a 1 3/4. The jackknife did really good with penetration, accuracy, everything like that. But right now the Z-Force, if it works how it's supposed to, which all of them actually deployed, the Z-Force is our choice right now. It actually had the best penetration and equal accuracy. The first fixed blade we're gonna try out is my favorite that Wasp makes. This is the Wasp drone. I'm gonna go ahead and give you 3 reasons why it's the best broadhead that I think that they make so far. But some of these broadheads could change their mind, I don't know. Number 1, penetration. This broadhead, if you haven't seen already, go ahead and click the link in the corner of the screen. Luck of the draw, first day archery season last year, drilled an 8-point, went right through the deer, stuck right in the ground, amazing penetration. 2, probably the most important thing for me is pinpoint field point accuracy. I don't have to move my sights at all for this. This is why I love it. I actually shoot this in the summer because I also hunt with this for groundhogs. I don't have to move a thing. Speaking of groundhogs, I use this for groundhogs like I said, and I'm so confident in the durability of these broadheads that I actually bring a toothbrush and a cloth around with me. I'll shoot it right through a groundhog, go ahead and wipe off the blood and just get my toothbrush, work it through there, screw it right back in, it's good to go. If you haven't seen some of the groundhog kills that I've had with this broadhead, go ahead and click the link in the corner of the screen again to watch Hogtosh 2018. And I also already had a couple of broadhead kills, bow kills with this broadhead specifically for our 2019 Hogtosh that'll be coming out soon. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna shoot this right now just to compare it to the other broadheads. Next fixed blade we're gonna try out is the one that I thought probably looked the coolest. This is the sharpshooter. It has cut on impact tip, and then it also has a 1-inch cutting diameter on the long part of the blades, and additionally it has bleeder blades. We expect this to have really good blood trails and also pretty good penetration because, as you can see, there is no chisel tip, it's just straight cut on impact. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot. Next fixed blade we're gonna try out is the Havlon HV. Havlon and Wasp teamed up to make this broadhead. It has a 1 3/16 cutting diameter, and it looks basically like the drone, just has marginally thicker blades. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot right now and see where it hits.
Sharpshooter is number 1. Drone and Muzzy are about the same.
We have our results for our fixed blade. We actually ended up throwing a Muzzy 3-blade 100 grain at the very end just for accuracy, and we're also going to measure the penetration. Accuracy, the drone actually didn't hit where the broadhead, where the field points hit like I said it would. Usually it does, I don't know, maybe it's something I did, but it also hit exactly where all the expandables hit, and the Havlon hit the same spot as well. The sharpshooter I'm actually very impressed with. It hit exactly where my field point is, actually took the center completely out, and it also has the best penetration. Coming in second for penetration, I think the drone has the Muzzy by a little bit. And so then that would mean the Muzzy would be third place, and then the Havlon has the least penetration for right now. We're actually going to go ahead and see the wound channels on this foam right here. But right now, like I said, Sharpshooter is coming in number 1 for accuracy and penetration. So we're all the way through the 4th layer with all of them. Like I said, the Sharpshooter had field tip accuracy, and the drone and the Havlon hit exactly where all of the expandables hit. The only one that didn't hit anywhere close to where any of the other ones hit is the Muzzy right here. It did have comparable penetration to the drone and maybe even the Sharpshooter a little bit, but the least amount of penetration we had here is with the Havlon. It does have the thickest blades, which is why we think it has the least amount of penetration. But regardless, they're all marginally comparable, and we're pretty happy with the accuracy on all of them, like I said, except for the Muzzy. If you're shooting the Muzzy, you will have to move your sights. But other than that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna chalk up the scores on the front here, and we're gonna look at them. Okay, so our final analysis. Now, we know this isn't gonna be exactly like a deer. This is thick insulation, so it's pretty much what's gonna be like any broadhead target that you can buy. And so we're just gonna go off of what we can compare equal amounts of foam through all of these broadheads. We're gonna have the Jackhammer 1 1/4 and the Jackhammer 3 1/4. They hit the same spot. The only difference is a little bit of penetration. The Jackhammer 1 1/4 is 16 1/4, and the Jackhammer 1 3/4 is 14 1/2. Obviously, it's not gonna penetrate as far because we have a bigger wound channel with the Jackhammer 1 3/4. The jackknife just hit slightly to the right. There was about exactly up and down, hit right in the middle. So it's 2+ inches of cutting diameter, and we came around 16 3/4 inch penetration, so that's actually quite impressive. But the most impressive expandable that we shot here today was the rear deploying Z-Force, which has a 1 3/4 cutting diameter, and it had an 18 1/4 inch penetration in this foam. That's actually the best, even surpassing any of the fixed blades that we shot. So the Z-Force right now essentially hit the exact same spot as most of these broadheads that we shot today, and had the best penetration. So that is our number 1 expandable that I might actually buy myself. Now we're gonna go on to fixed blades. We had the Havlon and the drone hitting exactly the same spot as the majority of the expandables. We had the drone at a 15 inch penetration, Havlon at a 13 1/4 inch penetration. We think the difference there is just because as we've already mentioned, the Havlons have thicker blades than the drones, but the accuracy is about the same there. We had the drone at 15, like I said, Havlon 13 1/4. What I'm really impressed with is the Sharpshooter, which had exactly field tip accuracy, hit exactly where my pin was, went right there, and had the best penetration of any of the fixed blades, coming in at 16 1/4 inches. Now we compared all of these Wasps to this Muzzy 3 blade, which had a 1 3/16 cutting diameter, and it came in about average, 15 3/4 inch penetration. Although it didn't hit anywhere where any of the broadheads hit. I hit about 1 1/2, 1 3/4 inches left and a little bit low. So you are gonna have to completely resight in your bow if you're gonna be shooting these Muzzies. So what we wanna kinda tell you is, so you don't waste a lot of money buying these pick 3s, although they are crazy fun to kind of try out. We really enjoyed today. We're gonna give our best analysis of what you think you should kind of try out if you are gonna do a pick 3. We have the Z-Force, obviously, like I said, best cutting diameter and also best penetration. Definitely go ahead and get this Z-Force. The Sharpshooter right here has a 1 inch cutting diameter only, but it also had the best penetration, field point penetration. And if you're hunting anything like elk or something like that, or big game where you need cut on contact penetration, you're gonna wanna go with the Sharpshooter. Additionally, 1 3/4 is a great wound channel that you're gonna have with the Jackhammers. They hit exactly the same as the Jackhammer 1 1/4. So I would just kind of go with the bigger cutting diameter with the Jackhammer 1 3/4. So I would also pick one of these. So that's basically what we kind of think about our little test here. We're really happy with all the broadheads that we shot today, and so hopefully we helped you out here with a broadhead you might want to try out and use for this next season. But we're really happy, especially with the Z-Force and Sharpshooter. Hope you liked our little science experiment today. If you have any questions, comments, or things you want us to do with these broadheads in the future, go ahead and let us know. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time.